The survey's shown many dads are reluctant to hug their children once they're teenagers.
Yeah, this study has found that 1 in 10 fathers stops hugging their child once they reach 10 years old, and that increased to 61% by the time the children, as Kate says, become teenagers turning 14.
Aww. Well, we're joined by actor and dad of two, Sam Kane, who still hugs his adult kids, and mum of four, Danielle Lloyd, who says you don't need a hug to show you care. What do you do instead, then?
Well, I don't...
Shake hands.
Yeah, I don't see
Curtsy.
my dad on a regular basis, but I know he loves me and I know he's there for me. We speak on the phone every day. And I think there's so many other ways to show. Like, I show my kids I love them because I turn up to the events and, you know, I'm there for them constantly. You don't have to. And I tell them that I love them.
Well, your dad can't hug you because of proximity, I suppose?
Yeah, but when I see him as well, I don't feel the need to actually hug him. He knows I love him. I know he loves me. And when you're teenagers and when you get older, it does feel awkward sometimes, especially for children who are going through puberty. My 8-year-old is already telling me to get off him, don't touch me, especially in front of his friends. So...
Where's he in the line of your kids, your 8-year-old? Is he the youngest?
He's the eldest.
He's the eldest,
yeah.
OK. So
and at 8 years old, he's telling you he doesn't want to hug?
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's something wrong. I think there's something severely wrong. If your kids don't want the connection, then, I don't know, I'm not... certainly not questioning your parenthood, but there's something about the connection between
So what did you do
kids.
then when yours were going through... because yours are grown up now,
Look,
aren't
every
they?
child goes through an awkward phase,
Yeah.
you know, through puberty and adolescence.
So what's wrong with respecting that and allowing
Well, you do.
them
You
just
give them
to...
the actual space, but if you're a decent enough parent, you'd know whether they want that hug or not, because you should, by then, know your kids.
I think that's the main thing. You should know what they want, and if they... You should
to
just
say
respect...
that you're not going to hug your kids
Oh,
is...
no, I'm not saying I would never. If they wanted to
But
hug,
no, you said,
then that's
what
fine.
was the word you used? You said it was creepy to hug your kids.
Well...
That was the word you used. And for me, with all respect, I think that's a bit weird.
Sometimes it can look creepy. If a dad is out with his daughter and they're in a restaurant, it can
Well,
look
that says,
a
I'll
bit
be honest
weird.
with you, mate, that says a bit more about you than it does the
But
parent
it says it about the
hugging
whole
his child.
world. It says it about the whole world.
In a terrible society that we live in now, if you're not allowed to hug your kids without people think there's something going on, there's something really wrong with the way people
Sam,
are
your
looked
kids
upon.
are in their 20s now.
Well, my son is coming up to 19, my daughter's 22.
Has there ever been any awkward moments where you've wanted to give them a hug, maybe particularly your son?
Absolutely never.
Because you've never given them a choice, or they've always been very tactile and open to that?
Well, we've always been a very tactile, open relationship with our kids. We've always brought them up with a measurement of what's good, what's wrong, how to be right, how to behave in whatever society and certainly in public. And they've always just been really measured, decent. My kids, well, a good friend of mine said to me, you can't fake your kids. And they're the best people I know, so...
What about... you feel very strongly about this, don't you? You forced your dad into hugging.
Yeah, so I was born in 1974 and grew up to the late 70s, early 80s, and my dad wasn't particularly affectionate and tactile. And then I went travelling when I turned sort of 18, 19, went off to France. Spent a long time in France where French men, particularly, are very tactile with their male friends and their children. And I came back and I decided I was going to instigate that into my group of friends and with my father as well.
How did that go?
Yeah. Well, he found it very difficult initially. But now it
was exactly the same
a
with my
given
dad,
now.
Ben.
It's an absolute
really
given.
difficult.
And with my kids, grandkids, he's really, really affectionate. And I don't doubt for a minute that it changed our relationship dramatically as well.
Because it was the way they were brought up, wasn't it? Yeah. There was very little affection back in that generation, and I think it's all changed.
Yes.
And I think society now, it just has to go back because, listen, not everybody's doing the wrong thing with their kids. And it just concerns me that if you're hugging your child, that people are thinking the wrong thing. It says more about society than...
It's not. You've just got to listen to what they want, because kids are awkward. They, you know, especially when they're finding the sexuality, they don't want to say to the mum and dad all the time, like, oh, mum, can you stay over there? Or dad, can you not hug me, please? Because it's the mum and dad. And I think it's more about the adult wanting to hug the child, because as a mum, I never want to stop hugging my kids because they're my kids, I love them. But you've got to respect how they are feeling, and they won't always tell you the truth.
So your eldest is the 8-year-old who's already said, Mum, I don't hug in front of mates.
Especially in front of his friends,
But at home, when you're on your own, is he a bit more tactile?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes, like, he will want to cuddle. He will want to cuddle because he's 8 years old. But I'm sure as he gets older, it's only going to get worse.
So you do hug your kids?
Yeah, of course. Listen, everyone's different. Every single child's different. But as they grow older and they become teenagers, I guarantee they will all be the same.
I suppose there is a point, isn't it, that we have to listen to children when they say no, because that's helping them to learn that they can control their own boundaries.
I'm not saying you just throw your arms around them all the time.
No, but you might well feel this is just a hug from a dad. But if they're going through a process where they want to know how they can set their boundaries, very often I find that youngsters play out what they do in the rest of their life with their mum and dad, don't they? So it might be part of their process. Well,
they tell the truth to their mum and dad. You see the rawness of the child. You get pure honesty from the child. So they'll let you know whether you want to hug them, and you absolutely respect their boundaries. But to say it's creepy to not hug your kids is fundamentally absolutely wrong.
Lots of people getting in touch. I have to say, not many agreeing with you, Danielle, to be fair. Sue says, my dad hugs me every time I see him. I'm 26. Sean says, I hug my 20-year-old son. He knows that it means he's loved, he's safe, he's not alone. Gail says, my dad's not here anymore. I would give anything for a hug.
The thing, isn't
my
it?
husband will always hug our kids. Ryan says, I'm 22 years old. I still hug my father. There's nothing wrong with it. It's certainly something very emotive, but I would really struggle if I couldn't. My 13-year-old is taller than me now at 13.
You're like this.
Which is killing me. But I will, I will still hug him, and I'll still get him to bed, and we'll read, and we'll have a chat before we go to sleep, and I will still give him a hug.
To keep that physical
What
connection.
about listening?
Like you were saying with your friends, though, if he turns around and says, do you know what, don't hug me in front of my friends.
I don't think... if I would do it more, probably.
I'm the same as you, mate.
But then it's all about respect of what they want.
I'm waiting
And
for
if
that
they
moment,
want a
isn't it?
cuddle, give them a
I'll
cuddle.
drop him off at the school gates, and I'll love you, son. See you. Like, kisses.
You would be unbearable, wouldn't you?
Child.
So can we agree that it's not creepy then to hug you?
Why don't you hug it out, you two. Come on, sort it out. There you go.
Thank you, Sam. Good to see you, Danielle.
Great to see you, thanks.
And thanks for those comments as well. No. I have my boundaries. Still to come, of course, I'll hug her. Come on, don't be like that. OK, that's enough.